Hi, I'm Matt for Learnable, here to show you how to create a basic, modular application in Phalcon using the Phalcon command line tools. If you've used other frameworks which don't have this tooling support, you'll know just how long and sometimes error-prone setting up so much infrastructure can be. For example, you may forget to add or set configuration options, you may forget to add view directories in the right locations, or the view templates for the controller actions you're creating, or you may do everything right, but forget to enable the module so it can actually load. Gladly, Phalcon's command line tools take all that away, allowing you to concentrate on what you do best, building applications. Here's what we'll do. First, we'll scaffold the application. Here, we'll have a look at the Phalcon dev tools, using them to both build and scaffold a basic application from our database, and have a look at the application which it creates. Then we'll modify the application. We'll make some changes to the application, specifically adding Twitter bootstrap support so that we can give it a bit of our own style. And then we'll have a look at it to see that it works. And we're done. With that, let's get underway. Now, if you're manually building an application, handcrafting models, controllers, actions, and other application code by hand, you'd have to create all the classes yourself, including adding the properties of the models, the getter and setter methods, or making the properties public, etc. This can be quite error-prone. In this jumpcast, we'll let Phalcon do all of that for us. So here in our project directory, we'll call Phalcon, create project, phalcon.dev. And you can see here, it successfully created a basic application structure for us. Let's have a look at that structure now. You can see here under phalcon.dev, we have two primary directories, app and public. Under app, we have cache, config, controllers, models, and views. All of these directories, I think it's fair to say, are pretty self-explanatory. Under public, like in most PHP-based applications and frameworks, we have the static JavaScript, CSS, and image file directories, along with the bootstrap file index.php and an auto-generated .htaccess file. Let's go to the browser now and have a quick look at what it looks like. Opening up our project at phalcon.dev, it shows a welcome page confirming that the generated application is up and running. Nothing too impressive, but you at least know it's there. At this point, we now want to create the pages and forms so that we can interact with our database. You could create models, controllers, actions, and view templates by hand, and that's fine if you want to do so. But as I alluded to earlier in the jumpcast, what if you forget to create files or set configuration options? So we'll use the DevTools Scaffold option, which uses our database schema to do all of this for us. Before we start though, let's first have a quick look at our schema so we get an idea of what it's going to use to generate all the files and forms and so forth. Switching back to PHP Storm, let's log into MySQL. So we'll run MySQL, setting the user, which is Phalcon app user. We'll get it to prompt for a password, and we'll specify the database. Entering the password, we'll run show tables, and we'll see that there's only one table called talks, running describe talks. You can see that it has 7 fields. It's nothing too complex, but it's sufficient for our needs today. Before we can run the scaffolding process though, we need to provide the configuration options in the application configuration file so that Phalcon DevTools know how to access our database. So, under app config.php, you can see here that there are some default settings in the database element of the config array. Let's change that to match our database settings. We'll add in the username of Phalcon app user. We'll add that in as the password, and we'll add in Phalcon app, as the database name. Saving that, let's log out of MySQL. We'll now cd to the phalcon.dev directory, our project directory which we just generated, and then we'll call Phalcon, passing the scaffold option and specifying the table name which we're going to run the scaffolding process from. And there you go, in barely a second, Phalcon's interrogated our database's metadata and created all of the files for us. I could have left the table name out, but I felt for this jumpcast it's a little more descriptive doing it this way. And so with that done, you can see that we have the talks controller, the layout talks view, and then view templates for the index page, search page, new, and edit forms. Let's go to our browser now and have a look at it in action. Going to talks in the browser here, you can see that it renders a basic search form, allowing us to specify each field in the talks table so that we can find any talks matching these criteria. In the top right corner, it also has a link to creating new talks. We don't have any talks in our database yet, so let's first create one, then come back and search for it. Clicking Create Talks. Here we see the new talk form. So let's fill in a bit of information. I'll add in one for the ID because it's our first record. I'll add in scaffolding Phalcon, and I'll copy that for later. We'll add in nothing really. In the notes, we'll say that it starts at 2014, January 1st, and we'll say that it finishes on the same date. And we'll leave created and updated blank. I'll click search. A little bit of an odd name for what's arguably an add record button, but let's not worry about that for now. And there you go. You can see that we're still on the create page, but we now have a confirmation message at the top saying that the talk was created successfully. Now let's go back to our search form and see if the record is really there. So I'll adjust the URL there. Now we can come back and search. So I'll add in one again. I'll paste in the name from before. I'll leave the rest blank and click search. And there we have it. Our record was successfully created. What's nice about this page, or the template specifically, is that it gives us all the information from the table row. As well as that, it gives us edit and delete links over on the right hand side, and by default it sets up pagination for the information output. Now let's edit the record by clicking edit. We can see that the edit form's loaded with the record details pre-filled. Let's update the start time to 1300 and the finish time to 1400, and click search, which will update the record. And once again, in barely a second, we see the confirmation at the top of the page saying that the talk was updated successfully. Alright, so let's bring the demo to a quick close now by deleting the record. We'll go back one more time. We'll add in the name again, and we'll click delete next to the record. And there you go, the record's deleted. So what do you think? Not exactly too involved of an application, but a lot of work that we would have had to have done by hand is all done for us. Okay, now that the application's in place, let's flesh it out a bit and make some changes in the look and feel by adding a Twitter bootstrap support, giving it a bit more of a professional styling. To keep this simple, we'll use a shell script that I've written to clone the Twitter bootstrap repository and copy the relevant files to our application. So let's go back to PHP Storm now. And from here, we'll run the script under shell in the parent directory. It's called install bootstrap.sh. This will clone the Twitter bootstrap repository and then copy the CSS, fonts, and JavaScript files to the respective directories under public. Okay, let's update the Talks controller layout view to make use of the Bootstrap theme. Opening the view file, which we find under Views, Layouts, and Talks, you can see that it's rather minimalist, including just enough code to render the content of an actions view. Let's wrap that in some basic HTML tags. Let's add in our head, and we'll add in the quick title here. Call it Learnable Phalcon. Then we'll add in the link tag. And we'll say rel is, style sheet. href is phalcon.dev /public /css bootstrapmin.css, and then we'll say it's type of text CSS. We'll be thoughtful and just complete the body tag. Right. With that done, Let's open up new.phml, which we find under views/talks, which is the template for creating a new record. We'll come down here to the forms table, and we'll add in a few classes to style up the form table. So we'll add in the class attribute, and we'll add in table, table, striped, table, bordered. Okay, this is enough to make it look a little bit more professional, a little bit more polished. With that done, let's go back to our browser and reload the page and have a look at what it looks like. So we'll open up new, and there we go. On the whole, not too bad. In about 9 minutes, we scaffolded an application and a set of CRUD forms from a database table using only the Phalcon command line tools. We modified the generated application to our needs, giving it our own personal style by using the Twitter Bootstrap theme. And finally, we saw that the application works with not much hard work from us. Not bad for such a short amount of time, and I hope you see just how much of a benefit these tools are, especially in terms of time, money, and effort.